Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your English teacher from At-Tamayyuz Model School for Boys. Inshallah, in this video, we're going to continue our lessons from Unit 7. As usual, it's about the alternatives of energy or power. In this video, inshallah, we are going to talk about three things. The first thing is the new vocabulary of the lesson, and we are going to know some setbook questions, and in the end of the video we have to know how to answer the summary making question in the end of the exam. So let's get started with the vocabulary of the lesson. The first word that we have today is, as you can see here, this boy is suffering from difficulty in breathing. If you cannot breathe easily, so you suffer from asthma. Asthma is a noun. It's a medical state in which you cannot breathe easily because of dust, because of smoke, or because of health problems. So this is asthma, and it's a noun. Repeat after me. Asthma, asthma. The second word, as you can see traffic jam. You can also say a traffic congestion. Traffic jam means traffic congestion. Too many cars, so much traffic, it's called congestion. Repeat after me. Congestion. The third word, if you don't know how to answer a question at the class, if you don't know how to solve a problem, you can consult someone else. If you have a medical problem, so you can consult. Consult means to ask for consultation, to ask for opinions from other people. So it's consult. Next, if something falls down or becomes smaller in amount, smaller in degree, so it is diminish. Diminish, to become smaller in amount, to become smaller in degree. So it's a verb meaning to become smaller. It's diminish. Some problems or some situations end up with serious problems. So end up with, if you have a result in the end of a situation, so it ends up with a problem. So it's a phrasal verb, end up with. The government, of course, you know the government, which is responsible for everything in the country. It's, again, repeat after me, the government. Government, the council which rules or governs the country, it's called government. When something is dangerous, you can also say it is hazardous. It is hazardous. So dangerous or hazardous. Repeat after me again. Asthma, congestion, consult, diminish, end up with, government, hazardous. When something is impossible to change, we call it irreversible. Irreversible. It cannot be changed. It's impossible to change it, so irreversible. Okay. Next, before we studied the word motoring, and I told you it's the process of driving a vehicle. Now, the person who is driving a vehicle is called motorist. So the motorist is the person who drives a car, a taxi, a bus, and so on. Motorist, motorist. Procure, it's not easy to procure a house. It's not easy to get a house. It's not easy to procure a job. It's not easy to get a job. So when I say procure, it means to have something or to be able to get something. Next. Recently, recently, it means lately, in the recent few days, or in the recent few years. So we always use recently when we talk about the past few days or the past few years. Self-employed. If you run your own business, if you have your own business, you don't work for a company, you don't work for a school, you are not a doctor in a hospital, so you are self-employed. You have your own business. Self-employed. Self-employed. It's an adjective, means someone has his own business. Sometimes we can see something like smoke in the air, but it's not smoke. It's a mix of smoke and fog. Fog that occurs in the morning, the early morning. So it's called smog, smoke and fog at the same time. So we have the word smog. Squander, squander. When I say don't waste your money, it means don't squander your money. I can squander money, I can squander time, I can squander my efforts, and so on. This is a verb. The noun, it can be waste. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of effort, and so on. So again, repeat after me. From the beginning, motorist, procure, recently, self-employed, smog, squander, waste. Here are the words in Arabic. Please be careful. Write them down in your notebook. You have to memorize them in order to answer the translation question in the exam. Let's put these words in meaningful sentences in order to be able to know the meaning more accurately. The first sentence, who can read? Yes, working in chemical factories is extremely hazardous. Working in chemical factories is extremely hazardous. Sentence 2. It is hard to get a ticket, but I managed to procure one. I managed to get one. 3. Traffic congestion gets worse during morning hours. Traffic congestion, I told you it means traffic jams, gets worse during morning hours. Asthma is a major health problem caused by air pollution or dust. It's a health problem in which you cannot breathe easily. Asthma. Some accidents happen because of careless motorists. Because of them, careless motorists, people who drive carelessly are careless motorists. I have a terrible headache. I think I should consult a doctor. I have a terrible headache. I think I should consult a doctor. The government spent millions of dinars to combat drugs. The government spent millions of dinars to combat drugs. The last sentence, our team squandered many chances, so they lost in the final match. When I say we squandered chances, we didn't score, it means, so we lost the final match. If we continue to waste energy, okay, what will happen? We will end up with serious environmental problems. If we continue to waste energy, we will end up with serious environmental problems. Mr. Adam has recently met his best friend at the coffee shop. Recently means lately, not long time ago, just a few days ago or a few hours ago, and so on. I prefer to be self-employed to working for a bad company. No one wants to work for a bad workplace, so he prefers to be self-employed. Smoking has caused irreversible damages to his lungs. If someone smokes heavily, of course, he have so many problems in his lungs, and these problems are irreversible. They cannot be turned back or changed. Nokia's popularity has diminished since Apple launched their first phone. I mean, after Apple had launched their first phone, the popularity of Nokia has fallen down, means has diminished. The last sentence, the smog is expected to cause problems for motorists tonight. The smog is expected to cause problems for motorists tonight. Now it's time to know some setbook questions about the lesson. In this lesson, you have to know how can we solve the problem of congestion or traffic congestion on the roads? How can we solve the problem of traffic jams or traffic congestion on the roads? If you want, it's a very important question, by the way. You have to write it down. You have to memorize it. You have many options. You can reduce cars. You can build more roads and bridges. We can use public transportation. We can share cars with others. Okay, we can replace big cars with smaller cars and so on. So to help solve the problem of congestion on the roads, you have to reduce the number of cars. You have to build more roads and bridges and flyovers. You can also use public transportation like the train, like the bus, and so on. This is the first question. Question number 2. How can we diminish the amount of energy used in cars? I'm talking about energy in terms of motoring in cars, okay? Not at home. To diminish the amount of energy we use in cars, we should share cars with others. We shouldn't use our own cars all the time. I can share the cars with other people. We can use buses and trains. These are called public transportation. We can use buses and trains. We could replace big cars with smaller ones. As you all know, bigger cars use much fuel than smaller cars. So we should use smaller cars. So what will happen, the last question, what will happen if we don't do something to save energy? What will happen if we don't do something or anything to save energy? Of course, we will end up with irreversible environmental problems. And of course, oil will run out very soon, and it's a serious problem. The final thing in this lesson or in this video, it's about the summary making question. I'd like you to learn how to summarize a text, how to write a summary for a text. Be careful, we have some tips and techniques. We have some tips and techniques that will help you summarize effectively. So the first thing is you have to read the instructions first. Any summarizing or any summary making question should have a question. Should have a question. You should read it carefully. You should know what is the main idea of the topic. The second step is to highlight or underline the major ideas in the text. We should know what are you going to write. So this is the second thing. 3, you have to make simple and meaningful sentences. Simple sentences. Don't write long sentences. Just write simple ones, and they should be meaningful. They should be correct sentences in English. And this step is called paraphrasing. I mean, you write sentences in your own. Writing sentences in your own. You should avoid repetition. Don't repeat sentences. Don't repeat ideas. We have only 4 different ideas, 4 different sentences. Number 5, and which is very important, you should use linking words. What are linking words? We are going to know now about linking words. And the final thing, which is making sure that sentences are linked logically. The order is logic or logical. You should be logical when you link or you make sentences. Okay? We have some things that you shouldn't do. Don't ever do that in summarizing or in the summary making question. The first thing is that you shouldn't do, don't change the original meaning of the sentences. Don't bring extra ideas away from the text. Please, you have to write from or the ideas of the text only. Don't include irrelevant information or specific details. Just write 4 sentences, 4 ideas related to the topic. You have to write only 4 sentences. Don't write less or more than 4 sentences. Don't change the format. We are not writing separate sentences. We are writing a paragraph. I mean, write a sentence, then a full stop, and right after the sentence, write another, and so on. Be careful. It's very important, and it's easy, by the way. Just take your time when you answer this, the summary making question. Here we have an example. I'm asking you to summarize and paraphrase the following passage in an answer to the following question. As I told you, there is a question. Read the question clearly. You should know or you should be aware about the question in order to be able to summarize. The question is, what are the different types of pollution and their causes? What are the different types of pollution and their causes? Take your time. I'll be back in a minute. Of course, as I told you, you have to highlight the information which answers the question. Take your time, bring or highlight or underline only 4 ideas. Okay, the first idea that we have here, which is about, we're talking about different types. So the first type is air pollution can be caused by particles, liquids, gases that make the air harmful to breathe. This is the first idea about air pollution. The second one, soil pollution, can be caused by pesticides, leakage from chemical tanks, oil spills, and other chemicals. The third one about water. Water pollution can be caused by waste products, sewage, oil spills, and litter, and so on. And the final one, the last idea about radioactive pollution. It can be caused by leaks or spills of radioactive materials. Now we have 4 different types of pollution and their causes. If you write down these sentences as they are without any changes, of course, you will never get the full mark. If you want the full mark, you have to paraphrase. I mean, you have to write sentences of your own. Okay? So if you want to paraphrase the 4 sentences that we have in the text, let's take your time first. You have to think of sentences of your own. Okay, the first one, air pollution can be caused by particles, liquids, or gases. If you want to paraphrase this one, I mean, you write it in different words. In different words, it will be like this. Air pollution is caused by harmful things in the air. Soil pollution can be caused, we are talking about the second sentence. Soil pollution can be caused by pesticides, You can make passive, or this is passive. Turn it back into active sentence. Pesticides can cause soil pollution. Water pollution can be caused by waste products, sewage, oil spills. If you make it of your own, throwing waste, sewage, and oil spills pollute water. Radioactive pollution can be caused by leaks or spills of radioactive materials. So leaks of radioactive substances lead to radioactive pollution. We changed it a little in the sentences to make them meaningful sentences and different from the original text. It's very important to write sentences or to write something called cohesive devices or linking words. We should use some words like the following. Moreover, we should write in addition. You can write besides, and in the end you should write finally. These words make the text more cohesive. They are used to link sentences together. After paraphrasing the 4 sentences, it's time to write down the 4 sentences paragraph. Who can read? Who can read? Yes. Air pollution is caused by harmful things in the air. Moreover, pesticides can cause soil pollution. In addition, throwing waste, sewage, and oil spills pollute water. Finally, leaks of radioactive substances lead to radioactive pollution. Here we have only 4 sentences, not more, not less, and different from the original text, but the same idea. Here is the summary making question. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in next videos, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.